Hey everyone, Logan and I are back to talk about the latest chapter of My Hero Academia. Join the discussion by leaving a comment and let us know what your take would be. Spoilers warning, this video will cover chapter 300 of My Hero Academia. If you enjoy these videos, please help support the channel by leaving a like and subscribing to Texas Smash. Hit that bell icon and turn on all notifications so that you can make sure and catch us every time a new chapter is released. Let's nerd out together. Chapter 300 opens by describing all the negative things impacting society. To start with, we just had a massive war in which some heroes were killed, some got slandered, many lost the will to continue with the profession, all took heavy criticism from society as a result. Soon after, there was a series of prison breaks with all sorts of criminals and escaped convicts on the loose. The chapter highlights the fact that the Nomu's existence is really a nightmare turned reality for civilians, as Hawks foreshadowed this during his dinner with Endeavor just before the Hood attack. We then see a town in which ordinary civilians use support items and try to defend themselves. Wash arrives on the scene, but the fight has already finished. Wash gazes onto unnecessary damage the civilians caused as a result of them being untrained to use items like that. Those same civilians then proceed to scold Wash, telling him that he isn't doing anything, that's why they needed to act. The story shifts to the number 9 hero, Yoroi Musha, announcing his retirement as the latest in a wave of heroes to do the same. There is an ominous panel of an All Might statue with an I am not here sign hung around his neck. As the chapter describes society beginning to decide for themselves who is deserving of the title hero, we see Stain free from prison and with a nice rusty sword as the narration continues to tell us that society's answer was to place all the blame on a single man. And that brings us to about midway through the chapter, so we'll stop right there. Logan, what are your thoughts?
Well, to start out, we've got that first shot or panel that says the city has fallen into a panic. And for me, as you go further along the chapter, the panels are really showing society falling into more chaos than just a panic. You've got the villains that have broken out of the prison, specifically the Cedar House gang, starting to attack the city, and then the citizens taking matters into their own hands and defending themselves. So it's really just a full breakdown of society. Crazy to see all this happening so quickly.
Yeah, that was a big thing. The League of Villains always talked about how fragile everyone feels, so protected by society, but how fragile society really is. So they're proving that now. And Redistro, there's a panel a couple chapters ago whenever he was talking about how the seeds have already been sown. Whenever you see the civilians taking up support items, there's a panel here that shows Redistro saying that quote to remind us Redistro is getting what he wants. This is the liberated world that he wished for, to be honest. So, yeah, like you said, a total breakdown. Heroes are dead, retired, gone. Even when they do show up, they get tomatoes thrown at them. Like,
and they're just overwhelmed right now with all the villains, everything right going on. They just don't have the manpower to really be able to handle everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And they're still getting blamed for it as well. Redistro's dream is coming true.
So, are you bummed or do you not care about never getting to see the number 9 hero fight, the armored hero that retired?
I just really wanted to see his quirk, really get to know what it even was. So, like, if you're number 9, you must be pretty good.
Well, it seems like the translation makes it seem like he just was a poser, really. He says, I just wanted people to appreciate me. Or I wonder if he's even that strong, you know?
True. Yeah. I guess we'll never know, though.
And then before we go on to the next, I really did love, I wanted to specifically talk about the All Might with the I am not here poster board sign on his neck. I thought that was pretty telling of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I like that panel a lot. And then everyone wants to talk about Stain. But I think it's just society is adapting Stain's mindset. That's why we see Stain when the narration is talking about how, you know, the people are becoming judge, jury, and executioner at this point.
Right.
So
they're becoming law and order.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I think it's pretty dark, though, with All Might there. Man, it's getting... My heroes, it's becoming a dark world. And then you have Stain just ready to go.
And the people as Law and Order decide to place the blame all on one man, so we'll finish out the chapter real quick. Endeavor wakes up and immediately starts to think about everything that had happened between Dobby and himself during the war. Endeavor accepts his situation as the price he has to pay because of his undeniable past. NG says, "Even though I survived, Endeavor is dead. He's a mass murderer, but I can't fight my son." Shoto peeks in to check on NG at this moment, and we get some comic relief when Shoto backs out of the room really quickly, trying to avoid the awkward situation of his dad crying, to no avail when NG shouts, "Shoto!" Eventually, Shoto, Natsuo, and Fuyumi join Endeavor in the room where Endeavor lays out all of his remorse and guilt to his family. Rei Todoroki joins the room as the chapter closes. Rei tells Enji that everyone in the family is hurting from the past much more than Enji. Rei closes the chapter with this line, "I came to talk about our family and about Toya." So just to reiterate real quickly, the title of this chapter is The Hellish Todoroki Family 2. So obviously there is a Hellish Todoroki Family chapter, which is 249. If you remember, this is when, to help jog your memory, during the Endeavor Agency arc, whenever Shoto and Deku and Bakugo all came over to Shoto's house to have dinner. Dinner was a little awkward. We got some dirty laundry, so to speak, with the Todoroki family, Fuyumi, and talking to Shoto. We'll put some pictures of that chapter up while we close this video out. So I'll actually start this one off. I think that when NG said Endeavor is dead, might be the most heroic thing NG's ever done. Agree? Disagree?
Well, I mean, for me, we've talked a lot about Endeavor and his path back to righteousness and forgiveness and making up for his past mistakes. And even now, I've always been on the side of he's just unforgivable. He's done too much to me. But I get what you mean by him, this being the most heroic thing. Even with that said, though, I still think he's just copping out. Man up, man. Come on. You've got to fight. You can't just give up, say Endeavor's dead. You still have a lot to make up for.
I think the struggle that he's dealing with to give up on the hero Endeavor is a bigger fight for him internally than any physical fight he could have.
Absolutely. I mean, he's finally gaining a moral compass and guilt, but that doesn't mean you can just say, well, Endeavor's dead, I'm done.
Well, no, he does embrace, or I don't know if embrace is the right word, but accepts what's happening with society putting all the blame on him. He basically admits that this is just his punishment for all the things he's done. He's not just saying Endeavor's dead, no harm, no foul. He's pouring his heart out to his family. He's not, yelling back at the crowds that are scolding him. For me, here's how I'll phrase it. Endeavor was dying for quite a while. In my opinion, the beginning of Endeavor's death was when Endeavor sat down with All Might during the remedial license course. While that was going on, Endeavor swallowed his pride and said, "Hey, what does it take to be the number one hero?" Which took a ton. I mean, when I say swallowed his pride, for Endeavor to ask All Might, "What do I need to do?" Like, that took a ton of humility on Endeavor's part to do that. This is something we'd never really seen from his character before this point. So I feel like that moment was the beginning of NG's Endeavor. And then in this chapter we got, really, I feel like this is the end of NG's Endeavor.
I'll agree with you there. Endeavor has grown and he's changing. But at the end of the day, for me, I don't really care. And I'm glad Endeavor's dying.
Man, what does the man have to do? He's saved more lives than anybody. Does that count for nothing?
For me, with the bad that he's done to his family, the good that he's done for society doesn't outweigh that. I'm on Dobby's side.
So just damn Endeavor forever, for eternity. Nothing he can do.
In my eyes, no. And I mean, and then you go to him all whining and crying and stuff, and then the mom walks in who's been in a psych ward, and she comes in and he's like, "My heart," and she's just like, "What? Regret? Guilt? Who are you to even be?" That compares nothing to what they feel as well as the family. So I like how she just straight up calls him out
Yeah, Endeavor was a horrible person. Let's make no mistake about it. But I think where we disagree is just at a certain point, do you just hate him forever? I think that's where we disagree. Would you rather him not try to make a positive impact on society, or not try to get his family back? Should he just not do any of those things?
I guess just for me personally, it's more the way he's going about it.
How so?
It would, in regards to him saying, "Oh, he's dead." Like I was saying earlier, to me, he's just giving up. You made a good point that he more recognizes that Endeavor does need to die for society to be able to blame him, and it's all on his shoulders. So he gets it. But to me, you need to rise above that. You need to show what a true hero should be. If you're really trying to change and make things right again, you don't just give up. You need to be stronger than that. And then even later, even now, he's even whining and he's like, my heart and weighing heavy and all this. But clearly, just when you compare it to even how the mom reacts, even she's just smelling bullcrap. So for me, he needs to rise above it, stop poor pity me, and do what's right.
Yeah, I won't make the argument that Endeavor has more guilt and remorse than anybody else in the Todoroki family. But I do think it's just a perception thing. I mean, it's just words on paper. Because whenever he says Endeavor is dead, I see that as a huge thing that he's given up. It's not just him trying to cop out of everything he's done and say, oh, Endeavor's dead now, so I don't have to deal with it. I see it as Endeavor's everything he wanted, right? That's what he did everything for, right? Endeavor was his ticket to pass All Might, whether it be him or his offspring. He spent his whole life and his abusive past, and it means everything to him. But yeah, when Endeavor says Endeavor, when NG says Endeavor is dead, to me, he's given up a piece of himself, a piece of himself that he probably should give up. And also, to your point, I feel like Endeavor is doing what he feels is right by hanging up the cleats. Because if he were to continue to be a hero and fight against the law, now he's a vigilante, which he doesn't believe in. We know that. So,
well, has he lost his license yet?
You got it.
Or do you think he will?
It's bound to.
What's gonna come.
Right.
Yeah. Well, then good. He needs to answer for everything he's done, and then that will open the doorway for
best genist
for Shoto to save the day and go against Toya.
There's definitely, I don't know how long it's going to be, but there's definitely going to be an epic Shoto Dabi
showdown.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can't wait for that to come. And I'm excited that the mom is entered in to the scene. That's pretty cool. She's out of the hospital. I wonder if we're really going to see how strong she is and get to see her use her quirk. What do you think?
I think she would have to be put in the right situation, but it's definitely possible.
Well, that's awesome. That's all I got for this chapter.
All right. Can we get an I Love Endeavor?
Never.
All right. Well, we'll see y'all next week for chapter 301. Don't forget to leave a comment and let us know what your take on the chapter is. Also, keep an eye on the channel. I've got some big plans in March. Stay tuned.